All hell is breaking loose as Donald Trump's unlawful and disastrous war against Iran is now spreading its tentacles, reaching areas like the Baltic states. Watch what's going on in Estonia, in Latvia, in Lithuania, where Vladimir Putin, Donald Trump's bud, has his eyes set, in my view, and on others who are watching this region for a possible invasion. I mean, folks, the entire world is at war right now in some way or another. I mean, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia have been prepared for the possibility of a Putin and Russia invasion there as Putin gets more desperate as his losses continue to mount from his invasion in Ukraine. And we have to be looking around the world right now at these different potential locations where we could see a war break out as the vulnerabilities caused by America's weakness, may start to surface as well. Those Baltic states, though, are well prepared, but Putin may want to try to create some conflagration in that region. I mean, look what the Trump regime is doing in South Korea. They've removed their THAAD and Patriot systems that are protecting South Korea. President Lee of South Korea is like, we strongly object to the U.S. taking away the systems that were meant for us to protect against a possible invasion by China. But sadly, we don't have a say with our objection. If the Trump regime's just taking the weapon systems out of South Korea and the Trump regime is not giving the weapons that were promised, that were budgeted for by our Congress to Taiwan to protect itself from a potential invasion by China right there. Watch these hot spots right now. That's what we're focused on here at the MeidasTouch Network. And when you have a reporter like Jennifer Griffin, who's the national security reporter over at Fox, she's like one of the only good reporters there, saying keep an eye on Russia. And she reposts Igor Sushko, who writes, smells like Putin is making domestic legal preparations for a ground invasion of the Baltic states. Let's be clear. Jennifer Griffin does not delve into hyperbole. So when she says, keep an eye on Russia, and she reposts Igor Sushka saying, is Putin making domestic preparations to invade the Baltic states right now? Pay close attention. And here on the MeidasTouch Network, we like to report on things in advance so you can start focusing on all of these things. So here is some of the latest there. So the Russian government's legislative committee approved amendments that expand Putin's powers to use troops outside of the country, the Moscow Times reported. According to the document, Putin will be able to extraterritorially use units of the armed forces to, quote, protect Russian citizens in the event of their arrest, detention, criminal, or other prosecution abroad. This is the language that Putin uses as pretext for invasion. Very similar to Trump, where they'll say, Putin will go, denazification. Donald Trump goes, we're trying to stop the narco-terrorists. Same types of playbook right there that they both use. And so a lot's developing. Let me explain to you, though, why also Russia is very desperate, although Russia has just gotten a huge economic gift from the Trump regime. So while Russia is very publicly helping Iran, they're helping Tehran, they're helping Mojaba, the new Ayatollah of Iran, while Russia is helping Iran target American interests, helping Iran get more parts to shoot at Americans. Russia has publicly stated, Putin has publicly stated, we're helping Mojaba. Our support of Iran is unwavering. That's what Putin has said that he's doing. Donald Trump is removing sanctions, or has removed the sanctions against Russia so that India could buy the Russian oil, which was sold at like all-time high prices, removing other sanctions against Russia. So Russia's been allowed to dump its oil into the market, make huge amounts of money right now as well, I think, to beef up for a potential expansion of its war effort, as Ukraine is really doing a good counteroffensive against Russia right now. So here's what the Kyiv Independence reported. I mean, Zelenskyy is fighting back right now. Ukrainian forces have pushed Russian troops out of most of the occupied areas in the Dnipropetrovsk Oblast after several weeks of counterattacks along the section of the front where the Dnipropetrovsk and the Zaporizhzhia Oblasts meet. So there's been a kind of counteroffensive launched by Zelenskyy here that's been very, very successful, pushing these troops out of this oblast. As Gary Kasparov writes, Ukraine is winning despite Trump's attempts to help Russia. How humiliating it will be for Trump and the GOP to side not only with a KGB dictator Putin, but for a KGB dictator loser. So as Putin's losses mount, that's why I think his eyes now turn to Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, which regained their independence from the Soviet Union in 1991. They're all members of the European Union. And I think Putin is trying to provoke, there already kind of is a world war, but to now use the smoke, if you will, that's engulfing the world caused by the Trump regime to start attacking these other countries, to try to expand the war efforts, perhaps even try to draw in China right now. Look, Ukrainian intelligence obtained an internal Russian government document revealing Moscow's own assessment of its battlefield losses in the war against Ukraine at 1.3 million, 1,315,000 soldiers, with 62% dead and 38% wounded. The documents discussed today with Zelenskyy by Ukraine's military intelligence chief Ole Aveshchenko indicate that Russia internally estimates its losses at 1.3 million. The report also notes a shift in the casualty ratio, with a growing share of Russian losses now resulting in fatalities rather than wounded personnel. According to Ukrainian officials, these figures come from closed Russian reports and may still underestimate the true scale of Russian losses. They may actually be greater. I know we're all paying attention to what's going on with Trump's unlawful invasion of Iran right now, what's going on in the Middle East, as Iran then retaliates against the Arab nations that are its neighbors, where there are American interests, as Iran retaliates against Israel and starts striking Tel Aviv, as the U.S. and Israel are attacking Iran and Tehran and hitting lots of targets within Iran, and also killing lots of civilians in Iran. I know lots of focus is there. We're focused on it and giving you all the facts and details, but I do want you to pay attention to what's happening between Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine's counteroffensive being very successful, Russia getting desperate, Trump bailing Russia out by allowing Russia to sell its oil at top market prices, Putin calling Donald Trump and talking about working together with Trump, Trump leaning on Putin right now as Trump gets more desperate, as he sees this quagmire, that he's this utter disaster that he's created in Iran. Now, Putin focusing on, I think, other areas as well. Now, Zelenskyy is offering and is helping out Arab nations and the United States, because Zelenskyy back last August was trying to tell Donald Trump, when Trump was rolling out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin in Alaska, where Trump was having American soldiers bend down on their knees and quite literally kiss Putin's feet at that summit in Alaska. Remember that? In that same month in August, Zelenskyy was telling Trump, look, we want to show you the dangers posed by these Shahid drones that Iran is developing. They're getting far more advanced. You, the United States, don't have the capabilities to really address these Shahed drones. Yes, you have your THAAD system. Yes, you have your Patriot missile systems, but those are billion-dollar systems with million-dollar missiles, and these are $20,000 drones, which Iran produces in mass. Zelenskyy has this anti-drone technology. Zelensky's become a master at drone warfare. This is where all of kind of modern-day war is shifting. Trump ignored Zelenskyy to hang out with Putin at that deranged, traitorous, and treasonous summit. And so now the United States was not prepared for the Shahed drones.
Eat like a caveman, suffer like a caveman. Until Tushy. That's right, Tushy Bidet is incredible and I cannot gatekeep this any longer. Tushy is the everyday luxury bidet that instantly transforms your bathroom habits and bottom health for life. 99% of people who wash with Tushy warm water bidets feel cleaner and fresher after going to the bathroom. Tushy e-bidets instantly modernize your daily routine and bathroom with a heated seat, adjustable water temperature, and a powerful yet gentle dryer. Every Tushy bidet easily attaches to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing. E-bidets only require an outlet. This is a daily decadence with practical benefits. Over half of the people who wash with Tushy soothe their hemorrhoids, and 9 out of 10 people reduce itching and discomfort. Instead of wiping endlessly with toilet paper, Tushy pristinely removes 99% of bacteria while protecting your natural skin barrier thanks to one natural ingredient: fresh water. Every Hello Tushy bidet comes with a 30-day hassle-free return and a 12-month warranty. Make going to the bathroom the most comfortable thing you do all day. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code MeidasTouch at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com with promo code MeidasTouch.
So as Igor Sushko, who does a great job reporting on all this stuff as well, says about yesterday, and The Guardian wrote the article, despite having to defend against Russia's ongoing full-scale invasion, Ukraine is sending drone experts, and Ukraine produced interceptor drones to protect U.S. bases in the Middle East from Russian-produced advanced Shahed drones. And so what Ukraine developed were these interceptor drones. So you have drones, interceptor drones. What the U.S. has been using is not interceptor drones. They've been using their THAAD and Patriot systems, million-dollar missiles to shoot down $20,000 drones. No, you have to have interceptor drones on drones. Zelenskyy gets it, but also Zelenskyy not just wanting to help the United States to try to also get protection for Ukraine and to help the Arab nations and to lend a hand and to be helpful, as Zelenskyy frankly always has. But I think Zelenskyy recognizes as well that this is the expanding nature of this war, is that Russia is involved in the Iran war. Russia's helping Iran. China's helping Iran, right? That's what's going down. And so Zelenskyy is helping the United States because it's also a way for Zelenskyy to continue the counteroffensive in Ukraine against Putin by trying to keep Putin's resources in the Middle East under check. You get what's going on there as well, and to try to also slow down Putin's march potentially on those Baltic states as well, while Ukraine engages in very, very good precision strikes on Russian areas. As Igor Shushka also posts, Ukrainian precision strikes on the Russian military industry using British, French Storm Shadow Scalp cruise missiles. We saw that go down yesterday. And Zelenskyy then released the following message. President Zelenskyy says, so our team is now on its way to the Gulf region, where they can help protect lives and stabilize the situation. We see the challenge that exists now. The Iranian regime has effectively blocked the Strait of Hormuz, one of the main routes for supplying oil and gas to the global market. This is a major source of instability. No one in the world can yet say how long all of this will last, but it is important that the protection of life starts working effectively as soon as possible. Stability is important for us as well. For us, right? In other words, Zelenskyy recognizes that if all of the attention is focused on Iran and there's no resolution there, that could potentially hurt Ukraine as well. So Ukraine's like, we need our stability also. Those now seeking Ukraine's help must continue to assist our defense. In other words, you need us right now. We have leverage, and we also want to help you. So help us, we'll help you. First and foremost, our air defense. Last year, we already proposed a drone agreement with the United States. This is the right way forward to partner with us in the production and use of drones. And everyone now sees there's no alternative to this approach. In other words, Donald, you're stupid. You're an idiot. You're a traitor. We tried to get you this technology last year, and it's because you hate Zelenskyy, you refused. We were giving it to you. Ukraine has the greatest experience in the world in countering attack drones. And without our experience, it will be very difficult for the Gulf region, the entire Middle East, and partners in Europe and America to build strong protection. Then Zelenskyy met with his negotiating team because, let's face it, Zelenskyy is trying to bring peace in his region to Ukraine and also in the Middle East. But Donald Trump wants to help Putin take over Ukraine, and I believe take over the Baltic states, and I believe take over all of Europe. Zelenskyy writes, I held a meeting, this was yesterday, I held a meeting with our negotiating team. It is important that we are in communication with the American side virtually 24/7. At the moment, the partners' priority and all attention are focused on the situation around Iran, and because of this, the meeting that had been planned for this week is being postponed at the proposal of the American side. However, Ukraine is ready for a meeting at any moment in a format that can help and that will be realistic in terms of ending the war. The team reported on the plans of the Russian side as far as it is known to us, primarily thanks to our intelligence services. I instructed the team to once again communicate with American negotiators in order first to reiterate our readiness for strategic joint work for security, in particular protection against strike drones, and second to once again confirm our readiness to work substantively toward ending Russia's war against Ukraine. We see that the Russians are now trying to manipulate the situation in the Middle East and the Gulf region in favor of their aggression, and also to effectively turn the Iranian regime strikes against its neighbors and American bases into a second front of Russia's war against Ukraine, more broadly against the entire West. There it is right there. That's why we need to read these things, right? This is what's really going on. When I say there is a war involving the entire world and it is now being fought in the Middle East, it's also being fought in Ukraine and it's also being fought elsewhere. But this is a second front in a war that involves a world, the entire world. Call it what you will, but that's what's happening right now. This must not be allowed, Zelenskyy says. Evil must not be given opportunities for coordination, but the protection of life must be clearly coordinated. This is exactly what we are working for. In other words, wake the hell up, America. Wake the hell up, Trump, or wake the hell up anybody who has any power in America, whether it's the United States Senate or Congress. Don't you realize that this is a proxy war that is taking place right now in the Middle East? Don't you get what you've actually unleashed, Donald Trump? And again, let me just show you some other data points right now as well. This one individual posted, what does it look like in Dubai right now, right? United Arab Emirates, Abu Dhabi, Dubai. What's going on right there? Here's a look at what their beach looked like as Donald Trump has betrayed its Middle East allies. Here, play this clip.
It's going to rain, but it is pretty dead, I can't lie. There is literally nobody here. Like, guys, there's no one here. Alex is in this building now, but usually the beaches are full of people. It is raining, but there's no one on the beach. Like, literally, there's one person on the beach. It's like these yachts are usually filled up with yachts. It's almost like a fucking 28 Days Later moment. It's just a ghost town. It's crazy actually how dead it is. But I'm on MR beachfront right now. Absolutely dead.
As Mortaza Hussein explains, they're relentlessly trying to encourage Iran to hit the Gulf states more directly to force their direct engagement in the war. This includes release of images yesterday by CENTCOM of the HIMARS rockets apparently being fired from Arab states. So the U.S. is also leaking images of Arab states firing these missiles in order to try to draw in the Arab states into the war. And then the Iranian regime notices that You have the foreign minister, Arakji, says, thank you, CENTCOM, for admitting that you are using our neighbor's territory to deploy these HIMARS systems against our people, apparently including a desalination plant. Nobody should complain if our powerful missiles destroy these systems wherever they are for retribution. You look at the rest of the world as well. Restaurants and hotels across India say they may have to shut down because supplies of liquefied petroleum gas have been disrupted by the U.S.-Israel war against Iran. Vietnam's trade ministry urged businesses to let employees work from home to reduce fuel use as supply disruptions and price spikes linked to the war with Iran hit the country. Saudi's Aramco CEO Amin Nasser warned that the ongoing Middle East conflict could have catastrophic consequences for the oil market and global economy if it continues, and we expect to continue. And meanwhile, state regime media, which calls itself Fox, like Laura Ingraham, are like blaming the Iranian people. Where are your uprisings? You should be doing the uprisings for us. Here's what she says. Here, play this clip.
Well, that was the night that we launched Operation Epic Fury. But now that the United States is close to reaching its objectives there, where are the Iranian uprisings?
And then MAGA Mike Johnson plays dumb on reports that Russia is helping Iran target U.S. troops. Play this clip.
Sources have told NBC, The Washington Post, and others that Russia has been providing intelligence to Iran about the location of U.S. forces. Obviously, that sounds very serious. As a member of a Gang of Eight, are you aware that this is in fact happening? And what do you think the response should be by the United States?
We've not had a gathering of the Gang of Eight since, I think, maybe a few days after the operation began. So that was new information when it came out yesterday, and I'm here and have not been in the skiff for a confidential briefing. But the president commented yesterday, if indeed Russia is helping them, they're not doing a very good job. And so we'll leave it at that. It would be a very serious thing if Russia were intervening in that way. I hope that it is not true. But we'll have to see how that develops. I'm not sure.
Here's what Donald Trump's chief propagandist, Caroline Leavitt, had to say as well. Just here, play this clip.
Last week, the Energy Secretary issued a waiver for India to get oil, Russian oils, during this energy crisis.
Yes.
Have you spoken to the President about it? What's the idea behind this?
I've spoken to the President about it? Yes, I have spoken to the President about it. And the President and the Secretary of Treasury and the whole national security team came to this decision because our allies in India, as you know, Lalit, have been good actors and have previously stopped buying sanctioned Russian oil. So as we work to appease this temporary gap of oil supply around the world because of the Iranians, we have temporarily permitted them to accept that Russian oil. And this Russian oil was already at sea. It was already out on the water. So this short-term measure, we don't believe it will provide significant financial benefit to the Russian government at this time.
So there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think about all of this. We'll keep you posted every step of the way. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. And thank you so much for watching all of this.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.